Hello, this is Andrew Davey at Nevada Forward, and we're here with John Lowy from the Brady Center. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
So we're here today because I just announced with the Eglet firm based here in Las Vegas that you're filing suit against the lead manufacturer of the bump stock device.
That's correct.
So first off, why are you doing this?
Well, what we have here is a company, maybe a number of companies, that marketed a device that enabled people to convert generally available semi-automatic weapons into effectively machine guns. And machine guns are not generally available. It is very difficult to get them. Nowadays, they're heavily regulated, and they have been for 80 years. And in our view, that is unreasonable.
Yeah.
In our view, these companies knew or should have known that somebody was going to use effectively a machine gun to do what machine guns are intended for, which is to shoot and kill a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Now, even though fully automatic weapons are illegal, many semi-automatic weapons are currently legal. And a few years back, the federal ATF issued a ruling stating that this device is legal. So do you think the ATF made a mistake?
Well, apparently the NRA thinks that the ATF made a mistake because they're asking the ATF to revisit that ruling now. And we'll have to see. I mean, for purposes of this lawsuit, it really doesn't matter because regardless of whether this product was legal or illegal, it was negligent to sell it the way they did.
Now, getting to the lawsuit, thus far, folks who have filed similar lawsuits have had trouble advancing them, and much of this seems to come back to 2005 law that Congress passed that shields manufacturers from these types of lawsuits. So how do you intend to overcome the 2005 law?
Well, first of all, the Brady Center has had great success in overcoming that federal immunity law, which is a horrible law. It's unprecedented. There's nothing like it in America. It treats companies that choose to make and sell the most lethal products on the market in a favored status. That said, we think it's clear that that law does not apply here for a number of reasons, one of them being that that law applies to firearms and ammunition, and this was an accessory, not a firearm or ammunition.
And ultimately, what are you hoping to achieve with this suit in terms of finding justice for the victims and in terms of limiting future access to bump stocks and similar devices?
Well, part of this is compensatory for the victims. So we hope to get medical monitoring so they can get detection, diagnosis, treatment, and damages to pay for that treatment. At the same time, we're seeking punitive damages, which will send a message to these companies and other companies that they have to pay the costs of the damage that they cause to communities and families.
And then finally, looking at the bigger picture, what do you think the state, this country, can do to prevent future tragedies like this?
Well, first of all, there's a lot that we can do. There is no good reason why America has a gun violence epidemic that no other industrialized country has, other than the fact that our politicians don't pass the laws that we need, and they allow the gun industry to basically run amok. And so I think in looking at solutions, it's important not just to focus on this horrific tragedy, but to look generally at the problem of gun violence. And the most impactful thing we can do to save lives is require background checks for all gun sales. It's outrageous that a felon can get out of prison today, walk across the street to a gun show, and buy all the guns he wants, no questions asked. We need to stop that, but there's a host of other things we can do as well.
And since you mentioned background checks, Here in Nevada, last year, voters passed Question 1. But since the background checks initiative passed, it hasn't been enforced. So are you also hoping that in the coming weeks, the governor and the attorney general will reconsider?
Certainly, we think the will of the people should be observed, and that should become law.
Great.